John Lennon. John Winston Lennon, better known as John Lennon, was an extraordinary British singer and songwriter. He founded one of the most popular bands ever, created a new rock and roll era which influenced even communist countries all around the world. I will define the popularity of this band with just two words: the Beatles. He promoted with his music a new liberalism flow all over the world, a wine of change, which make echo even in communist countries. He believed in human freedom with no rules or aristocratic corporations. He believed in love and none a bit of violence. And I quote, "We live in a world where we have to hide to make love, while violence is practiced in broad daylight." John Lennon. John Lennon was born in October 9th of 1994 in Liverpool, England, between a Nazi bomb attack to this city. He was son of Alfred Lennon and Julia Stanley, and both seem to have disappeared when he was very young. So he was raised by his Aunt Mary, who showed him his first chords in an old banjo. All his childhood revolved around music, because Liverpool is a port zone, so this brought many foreign styles of music which Lennon seemed to enjoy. He focused on blues and country that became his favorite genres. He had studied for several years in an art school and he had to decide between his two passions, his two beloved gifts, music and painting. Obviously, he chose the first one. Later on, he met Paul McCartney, who followed as Lennon with a guitar in his hands and a pair of chords. They started an amateur group which accelerated the rock and roll beat. They started writing their own songs as a hobby. George Harrison was added to the band 2 years later and they started to play in local places near them. Nothing seemed to be good. They had no money, no future. Every passion, every dream seemed to be evaporating, and as if this situation wasn't enough, his mother was hit by a drunk French cop in his car. John just vanished along with his dreams and aspirations. He looked for a job in town and lived like a normal guy. But Lennon was not a guy which will surrender his dreams that easily. He was a dreamer before a coward. He was a music lover before a normal worker. He was John Lennon. Reality leaves a lot to the imagination. John Lennon. After these events, John decided to create a band which would change the world. And as he said, supported by a disc seller, the Beatles was set up. They added a new member, Ringo Starr, and they were an enigmatic success. Their hits started to be bestsellers all over Europe. They create a liberal music environment through their concerts. Thousands and thousands of people, called groupies, assisted their events. Their songs became famous in America too, and even in socialist countries all over the world. The Beatles evoke a confident image, a liberal soul in all of their interviews. They were funny, charming, rebel, but deep when it was about music. Their songs were unique, written and composed in their major part by Lennon and McCartney. They had made the perfect union between melody and harmony. They were named Sirs from the Order of the British Empire, which was a big surprise for John Lennon, who said, "I can't believe they decorate me. I thought it was necessary to drive tanks and win wars." John married an enigmatic woman named Yoko Ono, just after their manager died because of drug abuse. These two events caused trouble between the group, money problems, artistic jealousy, and Lennon's demand of dissolving the group were enough to end with the Beatles. His talent as singer and songwriter wasn't finished yet. He started a new band along with Yoko Ono, which was named Plastic Ono Band. They recorded several CDs, but one of them was going to be John Lennon's peace anthem, Imagine. This song was a peace manifestation in a conflict period around the world. After this period of his life, his son, Sean Onal Lennon, was born, and John invested his life in his family. His public appearances were out and very few. It seemed that the music genius was not going to give us music anymore. Until in the 80s, he appeared with a new album, inspired by the love of his wife and son. John said, "In 5 years of silence, I've learned to free myself from the image of myself. The songs I make come in a very natural way, without thinking consciously in them. Certainly, it's like going to the beginning. I have the sensation that I've made my first album." Days after this revelation, in December 8th of 1980, the ballads of a deceased fan ended with John Lennon's life, and he became a modern god, which faith in peace and love were big enough to convince millions of people around the world about his beliefs. John Lennon was an inspiration, an icon of peace who encouraged you in several lyrics between some chords, who evoke a liberal way of loving and expressing. The only person who raised a whole world generation, a brand new idealism. The person behind the Utopia anthem, behind Imagine. The British who never gave up his dreams, who realized that for peace you just need love and a pair of chords.